PDC Telecommunications in Sdn Bhd. We'd like to welcome you once again. This is our first ever appreciation dinner, and as you all know, since YB Jeff Uy has been the chairman, PDC Telco very active now. Time over to YB Telecommunications in Sdn Bhd for his presentation. Let's give YB Jeff Uy a big round of applause to welcome him.
Saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada tuan-tuan dan puan yang sudi meluangkan masa untuk bersama-sama kita dalam kali yang pertama barangkali dalam sejarah PDC Telco yang telah merancang bersama-sama dengan pasukan kami, pasukan yang muda, dinamik, untuk mengadakan malam kesyukuran dalam satu macam malam kesyukuran kepada tuan-tuan dan puan kerana tanpa bantuan, sokongan, dorongan, pimpinan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sepanjang tahun 2012 tak mungkin kita mencapai apa yang kita harapkan menerusi projek bersama dalam sistem perparitan bersepadu ini, di mana kita dapat memajukan Pulau Pinang ke tahap the big data era dengan infrastruktur yang harus disediakan terlebih dahulu. So we thank you all really from the bottom of our heart, and I hope that from tonight you no longer consider us as yet another government agency. We may be a government agency, but I hope that you also know the company is registered as a Sdn Bhd. It is a profit-driven, but also a government motivated company to enhance the infrastructure of telecommunication in the state and moving forward to future-proof Penang. You get to hear more about this buzzword, future-proofing Malaysia, future-proofing Pulau Pinang, through a world-class carrier-grade fiber optics network that we are planning for Penang. So we'd like to thank you again. Looking at us from a different perspective, we are a government-linked company, but we are also a company that respect, treasure, as well as appreciate partnership. We appreciate customers, and we really look forward to another year of collaborative effort to make a lot of things when it comes to fiber optics network a reality. So throughout the year 2012, we were given about 9 months or so to coordinate with all the telcos, with all the local authorities, termasuk pihak berkuasa tempatan, and also all the 5 districts of JKR, so that when we come to coordinating applications by the telcos, when it comes to telecommunications trenching, we are reading from the same chapter. We are reading from a standard operating procedure. We are also reading from a common value. And that was a result of interagency meetings between PDC Telco and the project owner for common trenching in Penang is none other than Chief Ministers Incorporated, CMI. And then when it comes to policy matters, we have the Unit Perancangan Ekonomi Negeri, UPEN, and we have tremendous help from the Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan, MMK, terutama sekali portfolio bagi infrastruktur YB Lim Hock Seng. Saya sekali malam ini YB Lim Hock Seng ada upacara lain di Butterworth bersama-sama dengan Ketua Menteri, kerana kawasan Adun YB Lim Hock Seng terletak dalam kawasan Parlimen Ketua Menteri. Kalau bos pergi kat situ, kita kena ikutlah. So terpaksa beliau mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih juga kepada tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang sudi datang, dan beliau juga kirim salam kepada semua. So we just want to take this opportunity to further share information about what we have been working together. The government leadership through CMI and UPEN the implementation agencies through the MMK infrastructure, through the local authorities, MPPP, JKR Barat Daya, JKR Timur Laut, sehingga bulan November tahun lepas kita masih tapak kita, wilayah kita masih terkongkong kepada pulau. Namun begitu, pada bulan November tahun lepas, kita telah diberi penurunan kuasa untuk membuat kerja-kerja koordinasi dalam sistem peparitan bersepadu, juga yang meliputi seberang perai. Jadi kita sedang membuat perancangan. Jadi sepanjang tahun 2012 memang tak muncullah ataupun platform yang kita dapat bersemuka dengan MPSP, dengan JKR Utara, Seberang Perai Utara, Seberang Perai Tengah dan juga Seberang Perai Selatan. Saya rasa malam ni wakil-wakil daripada JKR, daripada kelima-lima wilayah, distrik dan juga MPPP dan MPSP, barangkali saya ingin mengambil kesempatan ini untuk memberitahu sedikit sebanyak mengenai dalam tempoh 9 bulan yang lepas, bulan Mac sehingga bulan Disember tahun lepas, sempat kita memproseskan work permit untuk membuat peparitan sebanyak 147 permohonan. Saya ingin mengambil kesempatan ini untuk mengucapkan ribuan-ribuan terima kasih kepada warga kerja di PDC Telco kerana mereka bertungkus lumus untuk menjayakan projek sistem peparitan bersepadu ini. Saya ajak tuan-tuan dan puan-puan untuk memberikan satu tepukan dorongan kepada kami. Datuk yang berbahagia, Datuk Ong Oeng, Pengarah Lembaga Pengarah PDC Telco, YB Tuan Teiju, Pengarah Lembaga Pengarah PDC Telco, Saudara Iskandar Abdul Kadir, CEO PDC Consulting merangkap Timbalan Pengurus Besar PDC, Encik Murali Sivaraj, Pengarah Lembaga Pengarah PDC Telco, Encik Jamil Ibrahim, Pengarah Lembaga Pengarah PDC Telco, dan on the head table we have Mr. Sridhar Subramaniam, an old friend of mine. We work on the Communication and Multimedia Acts and the related codes since 1999. And he's here with us as the CEO of Asian Broadcasting Network. Welcome all the way from Kuala Lumpur. And of course we have friends from Maxis from Kuala Lumpur, Mr. Jasbir Sekon, Kuala Lumpur is over there, and Mr. Lokanathan is from Time Telecom, and we have a representative from DG who is based in Penang, and all friends from the supporters of this project, Sri Tanjung Bena, Wilayah Utara. I do not know whether Dasar Jati is here, but we also have Instacom. Thank you so much for making the effort to come and join us. But with us today, we also have a representative from the real estate developers community. He's the Deputy President of REDA. We have Mr. Tojino over there. Thank you so much for coming. So let me take a few moments to share with you what has been done when we are formulating the SOP, the Standard Operating Procedure for common trenching for Penang. And we learned quite a lot of things. There's a lot of insights. Documentation were compiled so that we comply with all the requirements set by UPEC and also set by our project owner, that is CMI. With us today, we have a representative from CMI as well, Puan Barati over there. And we also have a representative from UPEN, Cik Muhammad Azrai over there. These are the people who have been working so hard together from the background to help us to achieve what we achieved last year. Common trenching, we processed 167 applications last year. As you know, purple color, that is Time Telecom. 64% came from Time Telecom that were being applied, submitted in the form of trenching for each length not more than 2.5 kilometers. We have 106 coming from Time, 18 from Maxis, 29 from Telekom Malaysia, 2 from DG. And there were 2 applications coming from ADN towards the very last few moments of 2012. So all in all, you get to see 64% were from Time, 1% each from DG and ADN, Telekom Malaysia 23%, Maxis 11%. These are the contributors towards rolling out fiber optic networks respectively for their own customers, for their own projects, for their own overall connectivity, linking Penang with the rest of Malaysia and with the rest of the world. And in terms of work permit received and forwarded to the local authorities for processing and approval, and ultimately the issuance of work permit for civil engineering, out of the 160 applications, not all applications were approved. Obstacles, SOP compliance, and so on. And the PDC Telco, my team, have been very firm. People who have dealt with Firdaus is somebody who is unbendable. As far as the standard operating procedure is concerned, he followed to the rule. Out of 167 applications, only 62 were approved before 31st December last year. Out of which, we calculate, it's only a hit rate of 37.13%. There were many status accorded to all this. You get to see 3% the applications were retracted by the operator concerned. And you have about 5% pending submissions to the authority because they were being processed at our side, on our side. And we have approved submissions, of course, 37%. Submissions pending feedback from the local authority as well as JKR MPPP. At that point, MPSP was not involved yet because we were not authorized to cover the mainland as yet. So 23% were pending feedback from the authority as at 31st December. There were submissions that were KIB for a number of reasons, 5%. There were also outright rejection of the submission because of non-compliance, 3%. And of course, we have various stages of approval. One, you get approval on principle that you fulfill all the SOP measures, compliance issues are all adhered to. Then you move on to the second level, where we call that is a consenting period, where you have to comply with all the documentation and also the depositing of the performance bonds and so on. At that point, we have 24% having successfully moved into the second stage, or what we call the consenting period. Out of the 62 projects approved, Time Telecom, I think my square slide should be at the bottom, somehow ran to the top. There were 62 projects, submissions approved, out of which Time.com scored the highest, having 51.89% approved. But it doesn't mean that because DG submitted 2 and they got all 2 submissions approved. So in fact, they scored 100% approval rate. But it's just that the aggregate is too small. We are still looking at Time Telecom having 55 submissions approved. So by aggregate, they are still the highest, and I would consider 51% hit rate for 52% for Time Telecom. So Maxis, 4 submissions approved. TM, 1 approved, and then we have DG all approved. That's how it went, and we are trying hard to get some achievement for ABN on this sector as well. So approvals by telco, by local authority, we have 62% or 62 submissions approved. Let me see whether I have this counted. Okay, so You have MPPP having successfully processed 46 for time, 4 for Maxis, 2 for DG, and DTL approved 6 from time, 1 for Telekom Malaysia, and JKR Barat Daya approving 3 from time, and that's it. So this is another way of looking at this, approval by telco and by authority. And when it comes to submissions that have reached, that has crossed the hurdle for approval on principle and moving into the second stage, where it is more a compliance issue, payment of performance bond, and also creating the schedule for kickoff and so on. Here we get to see there are 40 which has successfully moved into the second stage as at 31st December. MPPP, we have 4 into second stage from time, 3 into second stage from Maxis, and 1 into second stage from Time Telecom, Telekom Malaysia. And GKR DTL, 12 having moved into the second stage from time, and 6 from Telekom Malaysia. And for JKR Barat Daya, 1 having moved into second stage for time, 2 for Maxis, and 11 for Telekom Malaysia. So this is another way of looking at this. A total of 40 that were granted the consent into the second stage. There were submissions that were stranded at the local authority, whether it's GKR or MPPP. As at 31st December, there were 39 of them, out of which 18 were still with MPPP, submissions from Time, 2 submissions from Maxis with MPPP, 1 from Telekom Malaysia, and there were 12 from Time, for Time from JKR DTL, 2 from Maxis from JKR DTL, and 8 from Telekom Malaysia JKR DTL, whereas there was 1 pending feedback from JKR Barat Daya for Time, 1 for Maxis, and 4 for Time Telecom. It's another way of looking at it. Pending feedback. I think by now we would have progressed even more, but I just wanted to stop short at giving you the statistics as at the time we closed the year, having processed 167 out of our orders. Of course, there were some submissions that were rejected for a number of reasons, and unfortunately for this, all came from Telekom Malaysia. JKR, DTL,